TLO, what's poppin'? We are on Twitch. We're not live. But you can leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bells. Let's continue to grow the family from Chicago to the UK, man. Right behind me, warning screen, won't need it. Twitch.com is where you can catch a live stream. Usernames at the bottom. Patreon, 10 videos a week. You gotta lock in, man. Link to everything's in the description. This is Girl Gone London. 8 ways I changed after moving to the UK from the USA. I'm interested to hear about it. Because at one point I was thinking about moving. Maybe still. The USA be on some, I don't know, man. They be... Talk to me though, ma'am.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. YouTube seems to be pushing some of my old videos recently, which means that a lot of you have been commenting and emailing telling me that you've noticed some differences in
YouTube don't push none of my videos. So, I mean, I don't know what I'll be doing, but...
me since I filmed those older videos. And it's true, some things have changed and other things have not changed in the slightest, including this hoodie, which I do wash, but I think I wear it in like most of my videos for...
Oh God, talk to them, ma'am. They don't understand the USA. We got about 2 hoodies that are our favorites and we wear them every day. Like we have washer and dryers. We don't have to hang our stuffs over the furnace to dry it or hang it outside. Like we put it in a machine and it dry it within the same hour. I'm playing with y'all.
For the past 3 years. Now, the first thing that has changed in my life since moving to the UK is I now own waterproof shoes and a rain jacket. Being from Florida, I
live in Florida now, ma'am. Maybe you've seen some of my little TikToks and things of that nature.
am sure that I never owned a pair of rain boots, I never owned a pair of waterproof shoes, and I never owned a rain jacket. I know, I'm not saying no one in Florida owns any of these things, but it doesn't really make sense with the climate because the thunderstorms and the rain happen so quickly.
That's a fact. It could be raining on one side of the street and dry on the other side. It's weird.
And intensely, and pretty much only in the summer months. So you usually just duck inside a building or something so you don't get hit by lightning and then emerge a couple minutes later when it's past. Here in the UK, it's totally different and it rains off and on. Relatively drizzly is kind of the vibe here, and so it means that you do need more waterproof clothes.
I don't think I've ever even owned an umbrella. Like actually like, oh man, I'm gonna go to the store, purchase an umbrella and have it on standby. I've never had that. I've always found an umbrella and be like, okay, this will work. Whoever it is, you left it for me, thank you.
Than living in Florida. I do have a problem with waterproof shoes, which is completely unrelated to this video, but maybe somebody has some recommendations. I don't like waterproof shoes because they always feel too tight and too like hard to put on. I know this might sound insane, but regular shoes tend to be like softer, and I think it's like the material that they make waterproof shoes out of.
Yeah, the material that keep water out of them, probably. It's like probably a rubber. I don't even know. I didn't even know they made waterproof shoes.
I just feel like they restrict my feet so much, and I hate wearing them and I hate putting them on. And I didn't plan on saying this in the video, but here we are. So if you've got any recommendation for like the best waterproof shoe brands, please leave it below.
I really have a question. Do y'all really be rocking waterproof shoes, or it is what it is? I don't feel like y'all be rocking waterproof shoes. This is the first time I've ever heard about it. Don't let me catch y'all.
This has now become like the home shopping network. I don't know. Next difference on my list is I'm a better driver since moving to the UK.
You know what? If you're from Florida and you were born and raised in Florida, ma'am, I understand. Florida drivers suck. They're terrible. But going to the UK and becoming a better driver, I watched a lot of dash cam footage, and I don't know about that. But let me hear your reasoning.
I don't know. Next difference on my list is I'm a better driver since moving to the UK. When an American moves to the UK, you are allowed to drive on an American license for only 1 year. I drove on my license for the 1 year allowed, and then I had to take the British driving test, and I was like, wow, this is an actual test compared to what I had to do in Florida, which took about 10 minutes.
Yeah, Florida, they don't have an actual test. That's a Florida thing, though. In Chicago, we have an actual test. Florida, they'll give you a license. They'll get a license to anybody.
And only included a parking lot. And I'm not kidding. They didn't take me out on a real road because that would be too dangerous with a 16-year-old who basically still doesn't know how to drive. Driving in the UK is a lot more intense. The traffic patterns are a lot more intense. Having to constantly deal with roundabouts means that you're constantly having to think rather than just going straight on a straight road for like 100 miles and then eventually finding a four-way stop. Now
That's a Florida thing also. Florida's so big. That is a real thing she's talking about. But see, me being from Chicago, it hit a little bit different. It's just as complex as the UK.
Parking skills have not improved
or London
at the same rate as my driving skills, but typically I can still get away with it even if I have to park a little bit further away, because there is no way I'm going to be able to get my car parallel parked in between two other cars. That is a remnant from living in Florida that I'm just not entirely sure I'll ever
I'm from Chicago. That's you have to know how to do that.
Be confident with. In other US states, they do a lot more parallel parking, especially if you go into like the Northeast. But in Florida,
the Midwest,
it's very purpose built. We don't have that many opportunities to even need to parallel park. So it's not something that I learned when I was first learning to drive. And I think I learned how to do it just for the British driving test. And then
Yeah. I don't fault you for that. Your driving skills are Florida based. It's not your fault.
And I was like, never again. But despite that, I am a better driver overall. The next thing on my list is I am better at talking to random people. And I will explain this because this doesn't make sense to say you moved from America to the UK, which tends to be a little bit more reserved and maybe talk.
But you moved from Florida. There's a different. Florida people are mean. They don't talk. They're not. This is the South, but there's no... Southern hospitality. No, it's not a thing here.
Less to random strangers, and now you're somehow better at it. And I'll tell you the reason, and it's because of my accent, and it's because people realize that I'm from somewhere else and I don't instantly fit in, which means that a lot of times people are engaging in small talk with me more than I think they would somebody with a similar sounding accent, because I open my mouth and they want to know, where am I from? What do I think about the current political climate? Have I ever been to Disney World? Yes, I have. Because my accent hasn't changed, this still happens to me to this day. Like, I don't have a sign on me that says I've lived in the UK for over 10 years. My accent does sound like I live
10 years? Ma'am, can you send me a DM? Like, if you see this, like, leave a comment and I want to speak. I want to see what's really to it out there.
Literally landed yesterday, I think, from the US. And so people are quite interested in knowing where I come from, where my accent's from. And in that way, I've had to get used to engaging with a lot of random people answering questions about myself.
Y'all watching this? Tag her in the video. Tag. Add her. I think y'all can add.
Now, the next thing on my list has to do with British humor. And I feel like I'm getting
very dark.
A lot better at understanding and participating in British humor since moving here. It does take a long time for many people when you're first moving to the UK from the States to start understanding the very, very dry and very, very deadpan sense of humor here, because it is different than what we're used to in the States. But over time, I think I'm assimilating with my sense of humor, which a lot of you have pointed out in my videos, and I have always been a little bit of a sarcastic sense of humor kind of person, so I did have that to my advantage when I first moved here. But it still has taken a long time to not take.
I enjoy dark humor. British people, they do a lot of dark humor. I find it funny. I don't.
Everything so literally and understand the jokes. The next thing on my list, I've literally just written the following. I really like beans on my baked potato and with hash browns and pizza. I think what I was going for there was I really like
with your pizza. Okay, hold on, let me think. Beans, cheese, bread. Okay. I'm okay. It is quintessentially British. All the ingredients are there.
baked beans, but I just wanted to let you know what I enjoy the baked beans with. So baked potatoes, or jacket potatoes as we call them, I like them with my hash
She talking about
browns at breakfast. I like beans with pizza. I like beans with pie, and I like beans.
Do you mean pie like UK pie, or pie like sweet pie like Florida? Like
Beans on toast. I'm trying to think of anything I don't like baked beans with that you're supposed to eat baked beans with. And I don't think I can think of anything. I think I enjoy baked beans with all of the foods that Brits typically eat baked beans with. So I know I do not.
I can also say, like, from trying a lot of stuff with baked beans, Heinz to be specific, it's fire. I never even ate baked beans like that before I started messing with the UK. But y'all put me on. You gotta put some butter in there. Low and slow. Yeah.
Not enjoy tea or hot drinks, which a few of you were a little bit up in arms about in one of my latest videos and wanted to have me deported from the country. Please let me stay on account of how much I love baked beans now. Another thing on my list actually has to do with food as well, and that is that I like Indian food. And I had never genuinely had never tried Indian food.
That we don't fault you for that either. That's just Florida, they got it, but it's not highly sought after.
Before moving to the UK, not saying you can't get it in America, but it's much better in the UK, and also I have the palate of a 3-year-old. So it wasn't something that I had experienced when I lived in Florida previously.
Coming from Chicago, they got a bunch of they got this place, I call it Little India. You go down there off Devon, it's a lot of little India, like you feel like you walked into India, like literally, like I promise you, like I'm not being funny, like, and I always used to eat over there. They be doing their thing.
Obviously, but it's more prevalent and more popular in the UK, whether people are making like a curry at home or ordering it out, or some really good like Indian restaurants in London or in other places across the country. There are just more opportunities to try Indian food here. And I don't like spicy, but I do like a non-spicy Indian dish. And that is something new about me that has only emerged in the last 10 years. And the next thing on my list is nowadays in the UK, I walk everywhere I can. I would not have walked this much in the US.
Nah, not in Florida, you're not. Definitely not in Florida. In Chicago, you can get away with some walking, but Florida, everything's too far.
Would not have wanted to walk places. It just wasn't a part of the culture in Florida to walk. Maybe you walk around the neighborhood like once or twice if you're pretending to lose weight on like...
Yeah. Because all the communities are gated, so you can walk around the neighborhood. That's what she means.
Like January 1st, but then it's done. Then you get back in your car and you drive to wherever you need to go next. But here in the UK, walking is very popular. Walking as a source of entertainment, walking as a source of exercise, but also just like a social walk and things like that. I walk a lot and I enjoy walking. And so that's something that is different about me. I will also say that often I enjoy...
Now that I have less weight to carry, I like walking. It's cool.
Enjoy walking here as well because I don't have to deal with the aforementioned inability to park problem. So it's like I can be more British and enjoy walking, and I don't have to deal with parking. And the last thing on my list, which is changing ever so slightly. So this is not a big change yet. This is not going from no baked beans to all the baked beans kind of extremes. But I'm becoming a little bit less rushed living in the UK, and I will tell you what I mean. Life in America in general is a lot faster than here, and I don't just mean in a city, I mean in the suburbs. I mean Americans, we don't pause. We have this
stay on go.
Constant need to be working, to be going, to be running from here to there. After you finish a meal, you're not sitting and enjoying the company. You are racing out the door. You are done. You are on to the next thing. Whereas here in the UK, I feel like life just in general.
I learned that from the UK. Like, I've never been like a rushy person. I've always like been chill, but like now I really be chilling. Cause y'all be chilling, so I'm chilling too. I'm part of the culture. A lot of people turn me on at night when they chilling, so I'm chilling too. Simple.
Moves a little bit slower. The work-life balance is better. The time for like leisure or leisure, as you would say here, activities is more, and that's by design. It has nothing to do with anything negative. In fact, I think it's a more positive way of living, which is also a bit more of a European way of living compared to the Americans. And so, yes, I do feel Americans still in the kind of hustle culture and the feeling that you always have to keep going. But I do feel like bit by bit, day by day, year by year, I'm fine.
I'm on vacation right now with the family in Chicago. You know, I moved to Florida, and the green screen is attached to me. The hustle don't stop. We gotta work.
Finding a little bit of an ability to slow down and to appreciate things and to not be the one who is like just desperate to get up after we've finished eating dessert to move on to the next thing. I even did a puzzle the other day. I mean, now that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed learning about some of the different ways in which I feel I've changed since moving to the UK.
This is honestly informal.
Please comment below if maybe you've noticed something that's changed about me.
I haven't, but I mean, this is my first time watching you, but like, it's pretty interesting, the stuff that you mentioned though. It's heavily UK culture. Do you have dual citizenship? Do you got 2 passports, or how does it work? How are you a citizen? How can I be like you?
Or maybe you have a recommendation